Right, welcome back to a solo episode of Genius Rebel, which is the name for now. Obviously, ironic. I'm trying to say that most podcasters, a lot of them these days, frame themselves as rebels and geniuses when they are, in fact, neither. They are, in fact, quite stupid people who are compliant or complacent within their own social group because they're comedians. And to be honest, most comedians are kind of dumb. That's what makes you like a good comedian, is being kind of dumb, because it's easier to take a viewpoint and commit to it. Having a perspective usually means like, hey, this is how I see the world, and it's almost always wrong. Not to say that all comedians are stupid. A lot of comedians very smart. The best ones. A lot of the unsuccessful ones very smart. But yeah, the worst turn we've made as a culture is looking to comedians for any sort of guidance for anything, other than making us laugh. Because these people, most of them aren't good people. They're very egotistical. You have to be egotistical to be like, hey, people need to hear what I think about the world, because they don't. No one does. I'm an egotistical and obviously narcissistic doing this. It's a narcissistic, egotistical pursuit. I should have been a lawyer. Is what I should have done. I should have committed to going to university, and then just living a regular life and finding a nice lady. This girl, Kate, I met her my first year of university, and she was amazing, very pretty. We hooked up. And, but I'm emotional avoidant with, selfish, narcissistic attitude. Anyways, that's not what we're here to talk about. What we're here to talk about is baby boomers. I had a big week on social media last week, just talking crap about baby boomers. I had a bunch of reels go semi-viral. I think the most was at like 500,000. And then a bunch, from like 90 to 250,000. Just talking crap about baby boomers. And the thing is, I don't think I was saying anything particularly funny or insightful. And so it felt a little cheap getting so many views for something like that. Especially weird with social media. Everyone's trying to go viral. We're all trying to get attention because it's the only sense of meaning we have left is living in an attention economy. Is if you get attention, you feel like you're worthwhile. And, to get that much attention for just having some pretty generic complaints about baby boomers, I don't know, it felt like making AI generated art or something, because I think people were just sharing it because of frustration and outrage. And I will say this, on Facebook, had a lot of baby boomers reply. And I know people who reply on Facebook aren't our nation's best and brightest. And I'm sure there's a lot of baby boomers out there who would agree with me or even not agree with me. All I was saying about baby boomers is that they just don't understand. And this is still the case. A lot of baby boomers don't understand that the economy is just different now. And they're so delusional that they think that the reason they were more successful than millennials is just because they were smarter and worked harder. And here's the thing. I'd be even willing to give you worked harder, because I don't think the economy as it is now incentivizes hard work. Like, why, if you were a baby boomer and you worked hard, you could buy a house, and then you were part of the asset owning class, and it does reward you. Working hard in a wage economy doesn't really do anything. Like, you work a certain amount of hours, you get paid for those hours. You can't buy anything except for lattes and avocado toast. This is what baby boomers don't understand. That's the only thing. It's like, okay, if you work 8 hours in a day, you're making, $25 an hour. Now you work 10 hours in a day. That's an extra $50. That doesn't mean anything. It's useless. And not only that, maybe you only work 6 hours a day. That's a less $50. It's still all the same. Millennials, we work as hard as we need to survive, because working harder doesn't really get us anything. So I will give you worked harder. But the fact that it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating that baby boomers don't understand that just houses were so much cheaper. And then once you have a house, like that was the last time the government actually cared about anyone. They had cheap housing, and then they made an agreement with labor that's like, listen, your house is going to always increase in value, but wages are going to stay the same. And baby boomers got that deal, and so they were fine with it. And then millennials didn't, and maybe Gen X to some extent. But then, and so every generation past baby boomers, the economic prospects has been worse and worse and worse. But because baby boomers still buy into the system and vote at such high rates, they still continue to control everything. But I don't want to let millennials or Gen Z or whatever, anyone else off the hook, because potentially we could vote. Like, I don't know our chances of voting our way out of it, but by not voting, we are screwing ourselves over. We are shooting ourselves in the foot. Anyways, not trying to get political. Just, this is just my attempt. I right before this, I recorded a 10-minute video. I was going to start a YouTube channel about self-improvement, and then I recorded one video, and I'll be honest, I asked ChatGPT, is this good? And ChatGPT was like, I mean, it's not really anything. Like, you're being very honest and whatever, So I was like, you know what? Let's go back to the podcast. So hopefully this is entertaining to someone. So yeah, those, the social media thing going viral on Instagram, I'll be honest, it really depressed me. I was really depressed all last week because I didn't do shit. Like, I got addicted to just looking at notifications. I was just looking at notifications all day. I couldn't go 15 minutes without, because it's like, you spend so much time as a comedian trying to build fame, trying to figure out how to get famous. And then, you're constantly posting clips, and if one of those clips blows up, it feels like this big thing. But now we're at a point where it's like, I don't even know if it is. Like, does getting a million views on something doesn't even really matter. You have to do that over and over and over again, to the point where you're just doing that consistently. A million views, I feel like 10 years ago, that would really change something. Now it's even if you get a million views consistently and you get like a million subscribers or whatever, I mean, I think a million subscribers is like a number where that will change stuff, but it's just like you just have to do it over and over again now. But anyway, so I got, I don't know, over the course of like 7 videos, I had one sketch blow up with me and Gabby Rose. That I was stoked on. It was a sketch about, what if a straight couple was in heated rivalry because the female hockey player couldn't admit she was a lesbian. And so that I felt the most proud about that. Obviously, that was actually something. And then I had one take about the AI bubble about to pop. Again, sort of generic. I thought maybe I could just be generic take guy, but then I posted a few more generic takes on trial reels. They did not do as well, and so I deleted them because I already feel embarrassed about getting views for just generic takes. But anyway, so yeah, I was checking my phone constantly, like every 15 minutes, and getting that like fake sense of accomplishment from having something go viral, and then it was ruining my dopamine for everything else. I also had like a clip last week. I didn't really do anything. I got buried underneath social media notifications and was ruined my week, dude. I also had a clip come out or my Debaters episode on CBC was a rerun, and or reran on CBC, and so I got a payment for that. And so I made about what I would make on my remote work job, which I'm not allowed to talk about because of fucking NDAs or whatever. But I have a remote work job, pays between like $20 to $40 an hour depending on what I'm doing, and yeah, so I had a CBC Debaters clip rerun and got paid from that, and so it sort of gave me this justification to not work, even though I should be working because I'm in debt, trying to get myself out of debt. So I could have been working, but all I did was just check. And then it also got cold as hell, dude, in Calgary. cold as hell. It had been really nice, even that when that whole world had that storm, we were dealing with like, +5. A few days it was +15, and we had like that for like a month, and then just hit a -20 streak, and it ruined me. That and the social media ruined me. I was depressed, dude, last week, but it was this weird depression where it was just like couldn't do anything. Like, I don't know if anyone here struggles with depression. I don't even know if anyone's listening, so I hope you are. But if you like, there's just some periods, and I don't know if this is ADHD. I also fell off my keto diet, and so it was just like sort of a bunch of stuff. I've been on keto for a while. If anyone here has ADHD or struggles with cognitive stuff, I do recommend keto. Just try it, because my brain and body functions completely differently when I'm not eating a bunch of carbs. And it could be the fact that whenever I do fall off the keto diet, it's not like I'm eating, like fruit, although I do eat an amount of fruit. But, I ate basically yesterday and the day before that, I ate a bag of Cheezies and a bag of Cheetos. That was my diet for the day. It was dark. That's a dark thing to consume. And yeah, so I was trying to get better, live my life a bit better, get back on keto. And yeah, obviously you can tell I've been eating a lot of carbs because I don't know if this makes any sense. My brain is chaotic. And yeah, so just, been thinking about social media, YouTube, all this stuff. And I'm doing this, trying to get better. I'm going to start putting out more podcasts. I've decided to, so yeah, right before this, I put out a YouTube. I was like, I'm going to make a YouTube about self-help and self-improvement. And then I'm like, do I have enough? Can I talk about that often? What can you really say about that? I was watching all these videos about how to start a YouTube. And they were all like, you got to choose your niche. What can you make a video about every day? And I don't think there's anything I can make a video about every day or every week. And so I'm doing this podcast, and so I'm going to be putting out more of these. Hopefully someone watches them, thinks they're cool. This is my attempt to get better at this. Yeah. I also found out last week, and I had a friend who took their own life. Like, not someone I knew very well. I hadn't seen them in 10 years, but it was someone I had known in high school pretty well. We weren't super close, but I did know them pretty well. And yeah, so on the off chance that anyone who listens to this is struggling, do reach out, because whenever someone does that, it's like, not to I think everyone needs to be given, once something like that happens, it's sort of, there's a bunch of cliches that come out, and if someone is struggling, then, people need to be allowed to make their decisions, whatever. But yeah, it's just, I don't even know what I'm trying to say. I'm trying not to say any of the bullshit cliche stuff or take away from someone's right to make their own decision. Just with everything that's going on, it's not the first person I know who's done that. I'm sure it won't be the last. We're going through rough times right now, and just reach out if you feel capable of it. Anyways. So I guess Puerto Vallarta is on fire, and gang violence there. I'll be honest, I have pretty much completely tuned out of world events. There's too much happening that I don't care anymore. Which, maybe that makes me a bad person. I just don't, like, I'm fighting I'm fighting cartel violence in my mind. Every day there's a new attack inside my soul, and knowing about all the stuff that's going on outside, I just don't know. Like, if I could help, if I had any capacity to help world events whatsoever, I think I'd do it. I would try, but I don't, and so I just don't know what me knowing about this stuff does. Like, I haven't looked into the Puerto Vallarta situation. I'm sure it's bad. It seems like we're ramping up for war in Iran. I don't, like, there's so many people who know so much more about politics. I'm not going to speak to it. I used to think that maybe I'd be a politics guy. I don't think I'm a politics guy, you know? I've given up. I don't care. My concern right now is I'm trying to get off of caffeine and nicotine. But caffeine is the most difficult thing I have ever had to quit. Alcohol, alcohol, it ruins your life up so significantly and dramatically that it's like you have to deal with it. Caffeine, it messes with me in ways that I can't fully articulate, but I just, like, I've had this intuition for a very long time now that I just need to be sober from all mind altering substances, and I can get there for like a week and I feel great, and I'm like, this is obviously the right thing to do, I don't have these energy spikes and crashes. But then caffeine is just like, it feels so good, especially if I'm done in a week. Dude, it feels so good. It feels sick, dude. And then it's always just like, it just seems like such a minor thing, so you just do it. And so I'm trying to get over that, trying to get past that. Watched the gold medal hockey game yesterday. It was very disappointing. Went out at 6 a.m. It was fun. It's a fun time. Went out with my friend Hunter from Two Board Canadians, my brother-in-law, and his friend Joe. And watching the game was great until the final period, 3-on-3, pretty stupid way to end hockey. It's just like, at 3-on-3, it's not who's the best team. It's just who's going to get a lucky break, and someone's going to get it. It's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous way for a game to end, especially an Olympics game. Like, it's supposed to be a test of skill, not who is going to get the first lucky break, Yeah. Anyways, I think that's it for this episode of Genius Rebel, which again might change the name. Gonna get back into this. Gonna try. Gonna try to keep uploading episodes and not give up. I think that's hard part of content creation. How much do you care? But I'm trying to care for you guys. Trying to develop an audience, develop skills. Let's do this. Let's get it. All right. Peace. I'll talk to you guys later.